Hello, everyone, for an audio edition of Voice of Reason. This is Jake Schwartz. It's December 6, 2015, here at the 9th Annual Big Apple Basketball City, should say Public versus Catholic. It's December 6, 2015, here in New York City, Baruch College. Congratulations goes out to Archbishop Molloy, who has defeated boys and girls a 65-57 win in the first of 4 games that will take place here in the Big Apple return of City versus Public. Our player of the game, Isaac Grant, with 20 points. Cole Anthony finished behind him. Cole Anthony, the son of former NBAer Greg Anthony, who we will have. We've already been getting consent. We will speak with Greg following the conclusion of the interview with Cole, his son. Isaac Grant with a nice game with 20 points was the game high. Gianni Ford, after 11 points in the first quarter, finishes with just 10 in the last 3 quarters en route to a game high of 21 points. One of 3 players in double figures, Molloy placing 4 in double figures. So a good start again to this New York basketball tournament. Coming up next, Monsignor Scanlon will take on Thurgood Marshall, followed by Thomas Jefferson and St. John recruit Shamori Pons. They will take on Cardinal Hayes of the Catholic League, followed by Iona Prep and Ty Jerome headed to the University of Virginia. They will take on Wings Academy. It's all part of the 2015 edition of the Big Apple Basketball Public versus Catholic here at Baruch College. I'm Jake Schwartz for Voice of Reason. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Baruch College here at the Big Apple Basketball Invitational. Round 1 goes to the New York Catholic League as the Catholic League defeats the Public League. Archbishop Molloy defeats boys and girls 65-57. And my guest today, one of my dearest AAU friends who I had the privilege of working a lot with during the summer, Cole Anthony, who finished with 16 points, and most of which came in the second half. Nice job for you. And let's talk with Isaac Grant, who's going to join us hopefully momentarily. Isaac, if you have a quick second, we'd like to bring you in. And folks, for those of you, whenever you're listening, this is an audio edition of Voice of Reason. Cole, we'll start with you. Nice performance, 8 in the second half. Just talk about how you set the tone.
I just came in and played my game, got my teammates involved, and just did what we had to do to win the game.
You really just were able to make the right shot selections and were able to direct traffic. You were like a car just trying to be able to change lanes. How were you able to do that?
Just gotten a lot more confident this at the start of the season. And my teammates, they're all very good players, and they just encouraged me and got through the game.
You're down 8-0 to start that first quarter. What was Coach Mike McCleary telling this team after he called that timeout?
Get out to shooters. Like, just
get what?
Get out to shooters.
Yeah.
Because they were hitting shots. We got out to them and they stopped hitting shots.
I saw a couple really nice distinctive moves that were reminiscent of a sibling that you have. You have a famous father, don't you?
I do.
Yes. His name is Greg something. It's Greg Anthony, the former pride of UNLV and former New York Knicks and NBA player. And what has he been like to you as both a parent and as a coach like?
He's honestly been like a mentor to me, because he's just talked me through everything. Like, he's been there through all my big moments in basketball. Like, before every big game I've had, we just had a good conversation about what I need to do and how I need to play.
Yeah, I remember watching you play when you were with Team Rio. You felt like you had a really good AAU season. And, a lot of people, I've been talking with some of the coaches at Molloy. Does it really seem like Molloy is trying to find its way back on the map? Because there's been some great tradition along with the likes of Kenny Anderson and Kenny the Jet Smith.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
I was going to say that there's been some... that wasn't a question. Let me rephrase. You're right, that wasn't. Let me rephrase that. It does kind of seem like Molloy is trying to follow a great tradition. Do you feel like that Molloy, with the, Kenny the Jet Smith and Kenny Anderson, do you feel like that Molloy is now finding its way back on the map?
I do. I think we have a lot of talent on the team this year, and that, honestly, I think we could win a state championship this year.
What can you say about this gentleman to your right, Isaac Grant? How big was he down the stretch?
Huge. Just a big kid right here.
Yes, I can see that.
I mean, not like kid. It's a grown man.
Not just him, but let's talk about the likes of the big fella, Moses Brown. Your thoughts on him today?
Moses played great.
Probably the best basketball I've ever seen of a 7-footer. Yeah. And they say he can shoot.
He can shoot a little bit.
No, I think he can shoot fantastic. I've never seen a 7-footer be able to take a 15-foot jumper.
Yeah, his stroke is getting better. He's been working on it, and what can I say? He's been hitting shots, so I'm going to keep giving back to him.
I hate to go against you on this, but one-on-one who wins, I still think it might be me, right? You never believe that. Cole, congratulations, buddy. Good to see you, my friend.
Thank you very much.
And let's talk to our player of the game of the night, Isaac Grant.
Sir.
Welcome to Voice of Reason. It's nice to
be here.
Thank you for coming on. Great to see you. And you know what? It's always a thrill when I get to deal with Archbishop Molloy because ever since really the 1960s, when you think about great scouts like the great Tom Konchowski, who I'll hopefully talk to later, Jason Curry, the founder of Big Apple Basketball, who is also an alum, not to mention the two biggest names, Kenny Anderson and Kenny the Jet Smith. What have you learned from this tradition at Molloy?
I've learned to always play hard, okay? Always play hard. If it's here, or it's like in Queens, if it's in Brooklyn, always play hard, right? Like, give my all.
What does a guy like Mike McCleary mean to you?
Right? Well, I've been with him for 3 years now, so he means a lot to me. Like, he's my coach for my whole varsity career. So, like, when did I go to? I'm in trouble.
Same thing I asked Cole Anthony. How'd you get out to that slow? When you got out to that slow start, how'd you respond?
I wasn't flustered. I had to calm my team down. I had to tell them, like, hey guys, calm down, all right? Let's just play hard. Close out.
You were able to do that, and with yourself and Cole Anthony. But how about Moses Brown with a double-double tonight, 12 points? I think he had about 10 or 11. How many exactly do you have, if anybody has any track? 14 rebounds. Now, I can't keep track of all that, but a 7-footer like Moses Brown better be getting at least 10 rebounds a night. Am I wrong about that?
No, you're not. He played great. He played solid. Playing like that every night.
Boys and girls had a really good performance. Your thoughts on Gianni Ford? Because really, it seemed like he was going. He is the one really who had it going. How'd you shut him down? 10 points in that second half alone. So how'd you manage to solve that?
We played team defense. We had to help cutters, and we had to close out on him. He's a great shooter, so like had to close out. That's really it.
As one of the senior players on this basketball team, what is the message you have for New York basketball fans? Is Archbishop Molloy back, and is this school ready to roll?
Archbishop Molloy is back, and we're stronger than ever.
What if I'm playing? I'm just kidding. Now, what is the message, though, again, as mentioned?
We are back.
Are you ready for that?
Stronger than ever.
Are you ready to get that state title?
Absolutely.
Isaac, good to see you. Isaac, I have the greatest faith in you. Congratulations on a great day. Great to see you, as always. And congratulations on being the MVP. Isaac Grant, Cole Anthony, my guest today for Voice of Reason. Archbishop Molloy defeats boys and girls 65-57 behind 20 points from Isaac Grant, one of 4 players double figures, and Cole Anthony, the son of NBA prodigy Greg Anthony, with 16. We'll hopefully talk with Greg and many members more after this. This is Voice of Reason's coverage of the 2015 edition of the 9th Annual Big Apple Invitational. Public versus Catholic. Round 1 goes to the Catholic. Archbishop Molloy, they defeat boys and girls in the Public League 65-57.
Good luck, young man. Good luck.
Hello, everyone, for Voice of Reason. You know what? Oh, Big Apple. Hello, everyone, for Voice of Reason. This is Jake Schwartz here at the Big Apple Basketball in New York, as we are now here at the Big Apple Drop Cloth. As unfortunately for this young man, the Catholic school strikes first, as Archbishop Molloy hands the boys and girls a 65-57 loss. With me and with me here today, one of my dearest friends. I've had the pleasure of going down AAU roads with, from Boys and Girls High, Gianni Ford. It's good to see you, and welcome to Voice of Reason.
How you doing? I'm doing good.
You look great, by the way.
Thank you.
You do. Well, unfortunately, this is an audio, so those of you who are listening will not be able to get a chance to see this handsome-looking young man, but tough break again, as mentioned, because this really was your game. You started out strong. It's an 8-0 run, and just talk about what the rest kind of did not go to place.
Well, we started off real tough. We usually always start off like that, hitting threes, hitting shots. I'm not going to say that our offense is what hurt us this game. Our defense killed us a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And we allowed them to bully us. We usually bully people. We allowed them to bully us, and that hurt us a lot in the paint.
He really gave up. I can't go against giving up 14 rebounds to a 7-footer, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar-esque, and a guy like, I should say, if I can, as soon as I find his name in a few seconds, Moses Brown. I mean, the PA announcer pretty much said himself, is what can Brown do for you? What did he he do for them today?
He did a lot for them. They don't run any plays for him though, but he does. He's like a player who changes shots. He gets rebounds, block shots. And he's a big piece of that team. He kind of hurt us today.
Yeah, I've had the privilege of working with you back since you were a freshman at Boys and Girls, and what have you done really ever since then? Because you're now a senior. What's going on with colleges for you?
I have interest from LIU, Monmouth, Quinnipiac, Hofstra, Buffalo, Stony Brook, Iona. I think that's
all good choices.
Yeah.
Talk about the performance today of Greg Anthony's son, Cole Anthony, as well as the likes of Isaac Grant, who was the team's most valuable player. They were fantastic today.
Yeah, Cole Anthony, he was a good player. I didn't really know much about him until the game started going.
Until you found out he was the son of an NBA player.
Yeah. And I found out, was he a freshman?
Yes.
Yeah, he's gonna be pretty good. But
very talented basketball player. I like to think so.
I knew Isaac for a long time. He got a lot better. He showed it today.
You have to rebound from another game this coming week. What do you feel like you need to do if you really want to contend for a state playoff championship?
We have a big game tomorrow versus Westinghouse. We need that win. And what we need to do to make us a better team is we got to rebound, we got to box out, definitely got to hit free throws. I don't know why we miss so much free throws.
MVP Gianni Ford unfortunately was in a losing cause as Boys and Girls are defeated by Archbishop Molloy 65-7. Gianni, always a pleasure to see you. Good luck the rest of the way. Good luck tomorrow against Westinghouse. We'll talk with hopefully John Wallace after this as Archbishop Molloy has defeated Boys and Girls 65-57. Hello everyone for Voice of Reason. This is Jake Schwartz here at Baruch College for the Big Apple basketball Catholic versus Public. And look who I found here at magnificent Baruch College, a man who I have followed all the way from his playing days at Syracuse to playing professionally in the NBA. John Wallace, welcome to Voice of Reason, along with his lovely daughter here today. And what is your name, young lady?
Nia Wallace.
Nia Wallace. You're just as tall as your father, if I may say so myself.
Thank you.
John, great to have you here today.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. It's a great event. It's always good to bring the public into Catholic schools for bragging rights and to see who's really the king of the city.
Now, you're a New Yorker yourself. Now, where did you go to high school?
Greece Athena up in Rochester.
Okay, so you're a upstater.
We played out here. We played, but we had we ended up playing against Rice, Brandeis.
I didn't even know those schools
Bishop
existed in high schools. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, Bishop Laughlin, definitely I've heard of. Talk about what you've enjoyed so far of the public versus Catholic schools here in New York. I mean, there is a lot of good talent that's here. That first game really said it all with Archbishop Molloy, and I know that there's a lot of friendship between both you and Cole Anthony's father, Greg Anthony.
Yeah, I know Greg very well, obviously, and I've been watching Cole since he was like 10 years old or so it's good to see the type of player he's become, the type of player he's turning into, and I think he has a really high ceiling. He's going to keep working hard. His father's going to show him all the nuances of the game that he normally wouldn't get, so I think he's way ahead of the curve.
You've been around this game at least close to 35, maybe even a little bit longer of years. I remember you back in your day when you were in the movie He Got Game, when you were playing alongside Ray Allen and Travis Best and Walter McCarthy, I'd like to point out, in Lincoln. Would you have wanted to play at a school like Lincoln if He Got Game was a true story?
I'm from Rochester, so I love my school.
No, I understand.
When I was in high school, Lincoln wasn't, that school. We ended up playing against Bishop Laughlin in the state federation, so they won the city that year.
They had some pretty good talent.
They had 8 guys go to D1 from Bishop Laughlin that year.
Anybody I would have heard of?
Sherwin Anderson,
of course.
Xavier.
Sure, yeah.
Danny Manning.
Oh, of course.
Raphael Edwards.
Oh, you played against Danny Manning. So
Yeah,
you know Danny Manning, who's now the head coach at Wake Forest.
No, not that Danny Manning. Danny Manning.
Oh, I'm thinking of Danny Manning. I thought that Danny's from Kansas. Kansas, yes, of course.
Older than me.
That's right.
But it was a really good game, and but I love my roots. I'm from Rochester, New York, so I'm from upstate, and I rep upstate hard.
Yeah, I was actually, it's a good thing that you're one of the many. You're actually the second person, I should point out, of ex-NBA players that I've interviewed. I had one with Doug Overton back in my hometown of Philadelphia. Doug's a phenomenal human being.
Great guy.
A very nice
Great guy.
person. So I wanted to talk about, because one of the things we talk about on Voice of Reason, if it's not current type of players or current coaches, one of the things we want to know here at Voice of Reason is what you're doing these days, where you're living these days, and it just seems like this lovely lady to your left, or my left to your right, seems like she could be the next Wallace in the family.
Well, she plays ball. She just started. She's her second year playing, but she's really academic. She has straight A's. She's going to Frederick Douglass Academy next year, which is really good high school in New York City. And her aspirations is to be a lawyer, and she's on that course.
Really, my father's actually an attorney. If you need his phone number, I can. You're too young for me to give my father your number, though. But I'll tell you what, if you need good legal advice, you could probably talk to him about it. But where are you? So you're living here in New York?
No, actually, I live up in Connecticut.
Okay, you're all living in Connecticut.
I do PR and
oh, really?
development and all that with the Knicks. Have been for like 6 years almost. Now I have my own youth mentoring program called Winning Because I Tried. I've spoken to over 50,000 youth in the last 6 years or so. And I'm just staying busy, man. I'm just doing what I got to do, and I have 5 kids, so that keeps me busy.
Well, you look. I wish, because this is an audio, I wish we could get a nice shot of this gentleman here, because he looks fantastic, like nothing has changed. But we're definitely glad that you were able to come out here. And when you think of 2 great scouts that are in the building, that would be Tom Konchowski and Howard Garfinkel. How excited are you to be able to see those 2 again?
Well, I haven't seen Tom, because if I did, he'd still be shaking my hand.
He's here, and he probably will be shaking your hand
for about 12 minutes while he's talking to you the whole time.
That is true.
But Tom is actually the first guy to give me a high ranking when I was in high school in 10th grade. He's the first guy to be like, this kid's going to be good. And he's the first guy to give me like a national type ranking. So
what about Garfinkel?
Howard, I don't really like.
Oh, okay.
Howard's good. We never really got along so great.
Oh, no.
So, it is what it is. I think because I never went to his 5-star camp.
Oh.
He wanted me to come and I couldn't. I had other things going on, so.
Yeah, I heard a rumor that your old teammate Larry Johnson might be supposed to be coming this afternoon.
I'm not sure if Larry's coming.
Well, whether or not, what can you say about people like that? What did you learn while you played in your basketball days, both with Jim Boeheim of Syracuse and with the New York Knicks?
I was very fortunate and lucky to come into the league with a bunch of consummate pros. Patrick Ewing, Charles Oakley, Larry Johnson, John Starks, Herb Williams, Allen Houston. All those guys took me up under their wing and talked to me more about life outside of basketball and how to manage yourself and how to manage your money and your business. And it had nothing to do with basketball. And some of those principles they instilled in me at a young age, I carry through to this day. And I'm very close to all those guys still. I talk to all of them still to this day. And, it was a blessing for me.
You don't talk to me, though. Well, we're just meeting for the first time, which is okay.
Met,
no, I know. I'm just I'm just.
Those guys are just incredible guys. As good as they were at basketball, they're even better men. So, I was very fortunate for that.
And you're enjoying yourself again here today at Big Apple Basketball for the public versus Catholic?
Absolutely, and because I went to a public school, I'm always probably slightly pulling for the public school.
John, thank you again so much for joining us here at Voice of Reason. We want to wish you the best of luck. I know the Knicks are counting on it. Hopefully you'll be able to find your way back. You could team up with Carmelo Anthony and Kristaps Porzingis, because, my cousins who are actually based in Westchester would love to have you back on the floor.
No, the only time I get on the floor is to foul somebody hard, but I will.
I thought you might say that. John Wallace, thank you so much. Great to see you. Good luck to your lovely daughter. This has been, again, as mentioned, a presentation of the 2015 Big Apple Basketball Classic here at the magnificent Baruch College. We want to thank John Wallace, his lovely daughter, who's hopefully going to be a future attorney. This is Jake Schwartz again. We'll see you at the games. We'll have Howard Garfinkel, Greg Anthony, hopefully later today, as part of the Public versus Catholic Leagues here in New York City's Baruch College. Hello, everyone. For Voice of Reason, this is Jake Schwartz here at Big Apple Basketball. It's the Pub versus Catholic in the best of New York City here at Baruch College. It's all Thurgood Marshall in this one as they lead Monsignor Scanlon 41-24. Thanks to our guests including, of course, some of our dearest friends. Thanks again to our guest, John Wallace from the Knicks and Syracuse University, along with John's lovely daughter. We want to thank Cole Anthony, the son of NBAer Greg Anthony, and we also want to thank as well, certainly want to thank the likes of Isaac Grant, who was the MVP of the last game. We'll hopefully join Greg Anthony. We'll hopefully join many more. We're going on the air again later on today when Cardinal Hayes High School takes on the very talented Thomas Jefferson High School and St. John recruit Shamori Pond. We'll be on the air with Howard Garfinkel, Mr. 5-Star, right after this. This is Voice of Reason on the new YouTube channel serving the high school and college sports in the tri-state area. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Big Apple basketball audio version.
Can we sit?
Yeah. Sure. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the audio edition of Big Apple basketball here for Voice of Reason. This is Jake Schwartz, and we're going to talk to a longtime basketball scout, man that I'm starting to really get to know over the last couple of years, Howard Garfinkel from the old 5-Star basketball camp, and a man who founded which was at the time the Bible of high school basketball or college basketball, the HSBI. Howard, great to see you, and welcome to Voice of Reason. How you doing?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm doing pretty good because New York City basketball, they say, is high school basketball is on the outs. I don't believe that. Because I walked into this gym today, first game, first 5 minutes, and I saw the best freshman point guard in the country.
You're talking about Cole
in
Anthony,
high school,
right?
And I don't have to see the rest of the country.
That's Cole Anthony. Cole Anthony, who you've known that young man at the far end. That's his father, Greg Anthony, who I know you've known for a long time. And first of all, let me just point out by saying that you and I don't know each other as well as we should, but our history with basketball goes so far back, and I know you're on a limited time schedule, so we're going to keep you here for at least 5, maybe even 10 minutes. Heck, if it were up to me, I'd keep you on here for almost a whole day so we could go out and explore all of New York City.
Wait a minute, not finished yet.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm so sorry.
On the Archbishop Malloy team was a 6'11 freshman, 6'11 sophomore.
That's right.
By name of Moses Brown.
Yes.
Who they're all going to be after. And that's just the first game. So you can imagine what the rest of it's going to be like. New York City basketball is not dead.
No.
It's very much alive.
No, I actually have considered, in my opinion, this is the best basketball in the country. To me, being that I'm from Philadelphia, Philadelphia's always had great basketball. New York is really, in my opinion, where it all started. But like I said, we know you're on a little bit of a time schedule, and but we'll definitely like to have you back over the next couple of months, because anybody who's been in this world of basketball and anybody who's been in this business as long as you have, I mean, can you just tell us about when did HSBI first start for you?
Well, the service began in 1960. No, actually, it all started with a magazine called HSBI, High School Basketball Illustrated.
Sure.
And that was a magazine in 1965. And I'm riding in a car with Paul Brandenburg, assistant coach at NC State at the time. Then went on to be the head coach at Citadel. And he's got my magazine, and he's got red circles around every page, like 50 red circles. And I said, "What'd you mutilate my magazine for?" And he said, "I didn't mutilate it." He said, your write-ups of the city schools is the best recruiting tool in the country. And I circled all the names. These are all new names to me. He said, "You should do a service." I said, "What the heck is a service?" He told me what someone else was doing, and I looked into it, and I went into HS, and that's how HSB I was born.
At college,
And from that, the 5-star camp started the next year. So it all happened kind of fast.
What did people learn from 5-star basketball camp? Because you've had some of the greatest players. Anybody when they tell a story is you've had some of the greatest players come through that camp, from Michael Jordan all the way to even LeBron James. So what do you think those players learned at your camp?
Well, we did two things that no other camps were doing. Number one, we would not put names or numbers on the back of the campers, even though the college coaches were upset about that, because we didn't want to make it into a recruiting thing. We wanted to have a teaching camp. We wanted to be known as a teaching camp, and it turned out to be a very wise decision, because and I've been out of the camp now for 8 years. When I was there up for the first 42 years, there were 310 5-star campers played at least one game in the NBA. That's quite a number.
Yeah, no, it really.
But I'll give you a better number.
I'm all ears.
288 5-star campers, high school coaches, or counselors went on to coach in Divisions 1, 2, 3, NAIA, or junior college, or NBA.
That's true. And
32 in the NBA.
That's true.
288 was an exact count. And that, to me, should be a Guinness Book of Records.
Oh, I absolutely
number.
agree. And
I'm not going to stop mentioning names.
No, I wouldn't expect that.
But, some of the best-known coaches in America today started out as high school coaches at 5-star. Or campers.
Yeah, sure.
Rick Pitino was a camper.
It is hard to believe that you've had some of the greatest players. You've also had a guy that has worked under you for a long time, and now after you sold HSBI, you sold it to a man that I want to point out is a very long-time friend of mine, and that's Tom Konchowski. What has Tom meant to someone like you?
Tom Konchowski. I started out in basketball with NC State in the early 1950s. And my first mentor was a Hall of Fame coach by the name of Everett Case. Everett Norris Case, yes. Famous NC State coach back in the day when NC State was the Duke of today.
That's right, yes, absolutely.
And Everett told me, he said, and I believe most of what he told me, but he did tell me this. He says, there are no geniuses in basketball. Everett Case never met Tom Konchowski. Because Tom Konchowski is a flat-out genius. I could show Tom Konchowski a picture 15 years ago of 8 players in a scrimmage for a ball, and he will name 7 out of the 8. And tell me what school they went to, what their high school coach's name.
Not to mention their parents, too. He knows every single parent name.
He's absolutely incredible. And I had to sell him my service. I didn't want to. In I think it was in the 60, 70, 88. The NCAA had put in a rule that a person couldn't run a service and have a camp at the same time. So I either had to sell the camp or sell the service. So I sold the service to Tom, who was working for me at that time. And he's going on to make HSBI even better than when I did it.
Yep. Oh,
and
yeah.
I did it pretty good.
No, I never went against anything you ever did, because all the years that I've ever known about you and heard about you, never did I ever think that while I was in New York, I'd ever come across a guy who has, in my opinion, invented or really has created what has been a great sport. I mean, you have had the greatest coaches go from high school to either the college level, the JUCO, and even to the NBA. And again, we will not mention names. I mean, we could mention, your days with George Washington, because George Washington had a pretty nice jump shot, if I remember correct. That was but, because you've been in this business, again, no more than close to 45, if not longer. And Tom would always tell me this story of how, or even to different people, that when he first started out, he saw young Connie Hawkins play back in the early 70s, and he and his brother would go to all the doubleheaders. And that's what, like, in Philadelphia, anybody goes to the Palestra. Well, in New York, everybody goes to the Garden for a college doubleheader. Now, were you one of those people that did that?
Yes, I did. I went to every college doubleheader that I possibly could get to. And I even went to Philadelphia a lot.
Yes, you did.
To Philly a lot. And the Garden, the old Garden was great. Those were the best days.
And coming up next, of course, is the big matchups. Monsignor Scanlon is hurting right now against Thurgood Marshall. It's been all Thurgood Marshall, but we have a really good Cardinal Hayes versus Thomas Jefferson, St. John's bound Shamari Ponce, and we also have Ty Jerome, University of Virginia commit from Iona Prep, and they're going to take on Wings. What can you tell us about those next two games coming up?
Not a darn thing.
I thought you might say something like that.
That's why I'm here.
That's what I thought you might say.
I just saw the best freshman point guard in America. I'm going to tell all my friends about him, and I'm going to try to find some players that go through the cracks. That's my thing. I find players that go through the cracks and help them out. And they call me. I didn't make this up.
No.
They call me the King of Gods. Here's my man.
I thought he might.
How are you, man?
Yes, I thought somebody was going to do something like that. I was personally. You stole my Godfather routine. I was going to actually come up and try to kiss this man and say, "Godfather,
man.
you are
Listen,
wonderful."
Man, you got Howard Garfield. You recording this?
Yes, I'm recording this.
Great man. Helped out so many people in New York.
He really did.
Personally.
What about New Jersey?
No,
Philadelphia too, no less.
The tri-state, the United States. He's helped everybody out. Personally, had a great relationship as a kid. Helped me out tremendously. Helped me get to college, further myself as a player and as a man. So, great man. Everything about him's great. Nothing but great things to say about him.
I said the same thing about Tom Konchowski, who is now taken over for this wonderful human being.
Yes. He's wonderful, man.
This man deserves all the respect in the world. Without him, basketball is not what it is today.
Yes.
He has revolutionized this game in a wonderful way. And again, in the 26 years I have followed basketball, I have never seen anything like this. It's because of people like this man here. You would probably agree.
Howard Garfield, great man, great man.
So if anybody ever makes fun of this man, they answer to me.
No.
They answer to you.
Make fun of him.
I'm just saying, I've heard people actually say, when I ask people back in Pennsylvania, have you ever heard of Garfinkel? That's wrong. So wrong in so many ways.
On a farm somewhere. How you doing, man? You doing okay?
Well, let's finish this thing up. Howard Garfinkel, we want to again thank you again for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day, and it's so good to see you as always, my friend. And if there's anything, any final thoughts about because you've given advice to some of the greatest players in the world. Is there any advice you could give to players who are playing this game here today? Because you gave me some really good advice about a PA announcer, about what they should do. What would you want to say about current basketball players? What should they do?
When I become sports czar, if I was the basketball czar
you
of
still
America, I would do three things. One, I would do away with one and done. There'd be no such thing as one and done. You want to go to the NBA? You can come right out of high school, go to the NBA. Go to college, you got to stay 2 years. Minimum. 2 years.
I thought you were going to say 4.
No, minimum of 2.
Okay.
That's first.
Okay.
Second rule, I would take the college three-point line and move it back to the NBA line because every game it's become almost boring. 3-point shots are so, what's the word?
Unusual?
No, usual. It's too
delusion?
usual.
Okay.
I mean, it's not exciting anymore.
No, I agree.
It's too.
Watching NBA
I saw
is...
a game the other night. Team made 16 threes
No, I think it's unusual.
in college. I would move it back to the NBA line. And my third rule is the national anthem can only be sung by Robert Merrill. His record, these women and these men cannot sing, and they can't sing, and they spend 15 minutes. They all have an arrangement for the national anthem. Robert Merrill's record should be played, and that's it. Those are my 3 rules.
Howard Garfinkel, thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day. It's so good to see you, my friend. It's always a pleasure to see the godfather of basketball, Howard Garfinkel, our final man of the afternoon at the Big Apple Basketball Invitational. We'd also like to thank John Wallace, the former Syracuse Orange and New York Knicks. Currently, it's 54-44. Thurgood Marshall leads Monsignor Scanlon here in the Big Apple Basketball, 9th Annual Big Apple Basketball Invitational, City versus Public. I'm Jake Schwartz for Voice of Reason. So long. We'll see you at the games.